Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my best tips for dealing with phone call anxiety as a freelance writer. So this is a topic that's really important to me because phone call anxiety is definitely something I have dealt with. For those of you who know kind of my backstory, you know that I used to work at a call center, actually worked at multiple call centers. So after that experience, I just kind of always hated being on the phone because when you work at a call center, you get yelled at, cussed out, all kinds of unpleasant shit happens to you on the phone. But I knew when I started my business that I needed to be able to present myself confidently on the phone and kind of find workarounds to help me get over that phone call anxiety. I didn't want to make excuses for myself to stay off the phone or whatever. So I came up with my own process to deal with it. And now I feel way more confident, not only on the phone, but if I'm doing something like a podcast interview or even having a meeting with someone, it goes a lot more smoothly because I use these tips. So if you've ever dealt with phone call anxiety, today's video is for you. Be sure that if you like this video, hit that like button below. It really does help me out. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. So the first tip I want to give you is to come up with a pre-phone call ritual that works for you. So a few things that I do when I'm feeling anxious about a phone call. One, I listen to some of my favorite music that affects my mood in a good way. Another thing I do is sometimes I look back at positive feedback I've received, whether that's client testimonials or just really nice emails from people, just to kind of get that little confidence boost going on before I have to hop on the phone. And I also try to remind myself of past phone calls that went really well. So I might think back to a previous phone call that I was kind of anxious about and think, I really fucking overreacted to the thought of having to take that phone call. It actually ended up going really well. The same thing is probably going to happen here. So create that pre-call ritual, write it down, document it, and do it every single time you need to hop on the phone with a client. The second tip I have for you is to prepare some notes. And you don't need to write a fucking book. Don't do that. But do just make some simple notes that will help you feel more prepared as you go into the call. So some things I would suggest you putting in these notes is your elevator pitch, because if you're anything like me, your mind kind of goes blank when you get a little bit nervous, a little bit out of your comfort zone. So it's a good idea to have your elevator pitch there. You're not gonna read it off word for word ever, but it just helps. I know for me, it helps when clients ask me about what I do and stuff like that. So keep that in mind, and also pull your website up, pull your freelance writer website up, because clients may ask you about things that they have seen on your website. That may be where they found you, so it's good to have those things up on your computer so you can quickly reference them. Some other things you probably want to put in your notes are notes about the client's business, notes about their goals. So when the client contacts you initially via email before you set up the phone call, they probably have already told you a little bit about their business, their needs, their goals, or whatever. So do a little pre-research about the client, who their target audience is, what their goals are. Take some notes on the current state of their website copy, for example, if you're writing website copy for them. Just take some basic notes that will allow you to feel a little bit more confident and a little bit more prepared going into the situation. But again, keep it short. We're not trying to write a book here, and we're not trying to write anything that we're going to read word for word. It's just comforting to have those little notes there to quickly reference. My third tip for you is to pull up the client's website, or if they sent you another piece of collateral to reference or something maybe they want rewritten, go ahead and pull that up. This will help you feel a lot more prepared, and it's also part of that pre-research process, right? You want to be prepared when you go into the phone call with this client, because not only will that help the call go well, it'll just help you with your own peace of mind and help you feel like you are really prepared to take on this phone call. So the fourth tip I have for you, maybe one of the most helpful tips I can give you, is to take comfort in the fact that nobody fucking feels comfortable talking to a complete stranger for the first time. Trust me on this. Some of the places I've worked at in the past, I've had the ability to sit and listen in on other people doing meetings and taking phone calls and stuff like that. Even the most extroverted and charismatic seeming people feel awkward sometimes on the phone. I actually consider myself an extrovert, and I feel pretty fucking awkward sometimes. But with practice and being intentional about how you approach these phone calls and coming up with a process for it, that is what helps you feel more confident. And remember, people are hiring you to write for them. They're not hiring you to be on the phone with customers, right? Now, I'm not saying you want to just be rude or not take the phone call seriously, because you want to get the client to like you, right? Or at least not have a negative opinion of you based on the phone call. But at the same time, they are hiring you to write for them. They're not expecting to be blown away by your charisma or anything like that. They just want the business results you can achieve for them with your writing skills. So the fifth and final tip I have for you today is to see the phone call not as a job interview or a high pressure situation or like a sales call. Just see it as two business owners, you and the client, coming together to talk about working toward a common goal. Don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself, and don't see the client as someone who has a ton of power over you. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying to be an arrogant asshole and just treat them like crap, but at the same time, you have to show that you are a business owner and that you respect yourself and that you're good at your craft too. You're not the client's bitch, right? Start to see it like that, and it really, really does help take a lot of the pressure off, which I know for me helps relieve a lot of that anxiety. That's all I've got for you today, my friend. But before you leave, be sure you grab the freelance writing client phone call checklist I have for you in the description box below. It is a totally free checklist, and it breaks down everything you need to do to prepare for your phone calls, and it also has some extra tips and encouragement for you. So grab that. Again, it is in the description box below. And just keep it handy. Every time you have a phone call coming up, you can pull this checklist up and reference it, and you'll feel so much better and less anxious about talking on the phone. As always, thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos about freelance writing. I'll see you next week.